I'm back. Yes, apologies for the hiatus there. That was a couple of weeks without videos. It just was. When I said in the previous video that a lot of life was happening this year, that I wasn't lying. We literally just moved house, so we just moved, and the internet's only just been connected yesterday. We weren't kicked out, but we were encouraged to move out by our landlord, who wanted to renovate the building. So that kind of was a bit of a pressure. We weren't under a time pressure, but they were, sort of poking us every now and then to be like, "Have you gone yet?" Which was slightly annoying. So that was kind of like forced upon us a little bit. So yeah, but that's taken care of. That took about 3 days to move. Some stuff is still here in the studio because we're using the studio to just kind of dump stuff. We're still also planning our wedding, which is a whole hassle, which is, I'm sure you can imagine. And then I'm obviously building this studio, and then just other stuff that I won't go into. So yes, it's been a lot, and the last couple of weeks of everything's kind of fallen aside a little bit, just because we had to get the move out of the way and get everything fixed with the old flat and everything fixed with the new flat. And yeah, it just kind of was a thing, and I didn't have the time or the mental energy to do this channel. Also, my computer wasn't only assembled a few days ago, and like I said, we only got the internet back yesterday. So yeah, so things have been a little awkward. So sorry about that. But I did have plans. You can see my calendar up there. I just had to rearrange that because I did have plans, obviously, for the last couple of weeks that I then had to move those videos about. But anyway, I wanted to do a quick follow-up video to my previous making of, which was the cost. Talking about what it would cost you to do what we are doing, specifically here. I want to talk more about the practical cost of creating a channel like this if you don't have access to the facilities and the equipment and everything that I do. Now obviously it's a fairly expensive setup, as you saw in that previous making of, but that stuff, a lot of it I already owned it for my job, or I got it through my work in some way, and a lot of that camera equipment and stuff I get at like a hefty staff discount. Basically doesn't cost us anything to use. So I appreciate that might not come across as very practical advice, because you simply just don't have access to things like that. Although I do have to do my job, which some might say is the ultimate price. I actually really like my job, so that's fine. But realistically, the big expense is the space. Like this space alone. Unless you have a massive house or a barn that you can do up, then you're gonna have to find a space that you can design. Now, a lot of shows are online. A lot of actual play shows, which is what we're ultimately working towards being, are online, and that's fine. You can do it over the Zoom or over the Skype or whatever. Just like record, or wherever have them record themselves. That's okay. I didn't want to do that. Obviously, that's a very cost-effective way of doing it. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do it in person or nothing. That's partly because I knew that I would be able to facilitate that with the equipment and everything else. I just realised I forgot to attach my microphone to the new camera. I'm using my new camera. Finally using my new camera for one of these videos. So if it looks bad, it's because I set it up wrong. So apologies for that. I'm apologising a lot. But hopefully it's all good and shiny and new and nice. So unless you have the space readily available, you're going to have to find somewhere. You can find temporary locations that you can move in and out of, for sure. That's relatively easy, but we wanted a permanent base that we could set up and then come and go at our leisure, which is what we have here. But yeah, that's going to be your big one. That's going to be your complicated one that I can't really help you with. We just stumbled across this place just from searching for months and months and months and months. So that's the best I can offer you advice on that side. But from a practical standpoint, you don't need complicated equipment necessarily. This sort of camera would probably do okay for you, or some webcams. You can get kind of quite high end now. We're not even using particularly high end cameras from my work. There's way more expensive cameras in the warehouse than the ones that we are using. In fact, if anything, we're using some of the cheapest cameras, just because I don't know how to use the other ones. I'm not a camera person. We had to get a camera that I was comfortable setting up, so it had to be simple. But yeah, you can get these kind of cameras online. So if you do, it's still going to cost you a few £100 just to get a few cameras, but that is again very doable. Microphone wise, you can get this sort of thing if you don't mind having something on camera in someone's face. It doesn't look, I don't mind it. It looks okay for these videos, but you could have it on the other videos as well. The Pels was what we've got set up for that. Just because we don't have the overhead rig for like a bunch of directional mics. is just a little beyond us at this point. But that's what like Critical Role and High Rollers and all these other shows have, because they've got some budget to build their space. And even though we've got access to a lot of equipment, we're still scrabbling together to some degree. But the real cost, the real one that hits you, is time and energy, which really is a struggle. You've seen that it only took a few days of us having to move house that just completely threw me off entirely, and I've had no videos out for like the last 2 weeks, and it's just everything's kind of came crashing down, because it was either all my gear was packed away, or I had too much else to do in my free time, because I'm still working. This isn't my job. I'm still doing this in my own time for fun. This is just something that I happen to be able to do. So yeah, so suddenly life can get in the way, and you suddenly just don't have either the time or the energy for something like this, and it does take a lot. It does take a lot. I've attempted to run YouTube channels a few times in the past. We had like one where we did web series, and then we had one where I just had a couple of like video bloggy type ones. And it takes a lot out of you to keep them going. For me, I'm relatively quick at this. Like when I sit down to make one of these videos, to record one of these videos, it can take me a long time to psych myself up. So I come over to the studio, I do my admin-y stuff that I need to do, and then I will often just sit with the camera and just like psych myself up for quite a long time. It can be a good hour of me just trying to get into the headspace to record a video. This one I've just gone for. I just put the camera up, pressed record, and I'm just like, I'm not even going to attempt to psych myself up. I'm not even going to attempt to be mentally prepared to do this. No, I'm just going for it, because I haven't got the time to worry about that at the moment. I've got to record 2 other videos today, and get them in the can, because we've got. Well, I'll explain why in a minute. I've got to do that in a minute. But yeah, I've got kind of a bit of a tight schedule today. But you've got to set a time, and you've got to set a realistic goal. When I first started, I was like, oh yeah, I could put like 3 videos out a week probably. But that was a stupid idea. 1 video a week is fine. And now we've got some of the actual play stuff recorded. A video a week, one of these videos a week, plus one of those is quite doable for me, because I can edit those actual plays long in advance. We record 3 or 4 episodes a day, kind of like in a big run, and then I can edit them at my leisure and release them when they're ready. These videos so far tend to have been recorded the week that they go out. So I record them, edit them the next day, and then they go out the following, whatever the schedule is. This is obviously going out on a Tuesday, which is not normal. Normally I would go out on a Saturday, but that's just because I wanted to get a video. I couldn't get a video out the weekend just gone, because again, we still had no internet, which is slightly annoying. But I wanted to record something and get it out this week. So this is going out on the Tuesday, which would normally be my actual play day for my schedule, but then something else will go out on Saturday, and then back to the actual plays next week from Tuesday, we hope, barring any like major issues. We should get back onto track for that. But speaking of that, the room behind me, you can't really see it because it's dark, the lights are off, but it is currently set up for the first full-length season of our actual play show. So I am running Fate. It's going to be a 10 episode arc, or give or take, a 10 episode arc, and that's going to start in May, and that will run through. The current schedule is to start the start of May all the way through to early July. Just looking at the thing there, and that's the kind of our plans. That's going to be our first full season arc, with the same cast and the same characters, like running through a storyline, and it is heavily improvised because it's running Fate, which is my favourite system. It's heavily improvised. I'm working on I did a poll on the community tab here, which for what video show I should make next, and how to improvise a campaign was the winner. So I'm working on my how to improvise a campaign. I'm not going to record that today because I want to put a little bit more work into it, but I'm working on my how to improvise a whole campaign, because that's how I run. I run by improvising 90% of the game, and that Fate game is going to be heavily improvised as well. So don't panic if you did vote on that poll. I am working on that video. It will come out, just possibly not for a couple of weeks. So you've got to plan well in advance. The reason that we are not doing a live thing or a weekly show is because that is a whole other kind of kettle of fish. We could, in theory, get people in and record every week, or even live stream every week. That's sort of doable with what the setup that we've got. But it's the other big one, which is time. Not just our time, but we have a whole cast's time to where we have 4 players plus the director in here, Gavin, our director, and then whoever else we have on the crew sort of helping us out. It's normally like maybe one other person helping us out, and then it's just we've got to monitor it all the rest of it all ourselves. But as much as everyone would love to commit their time, and everyone's like very keen on the project, it's just not practical. Everyone's got, again, jobs and lives and kids and things they've got to look after. So everyone's got the kind of things they have to prioritize. And because again, this isn't our job. We're just doing this for fun. We just happen to have access to a lot of very fancy looking equipment and this lovely studio. But it's still entirely being done in our own time. We off our own backs with our own money. So we can't like justify doing something like that every week, just on a basic financial level. It's just not practical. With that being said, I have a Ko-Fi support page. You can check the link below. If you wanted to support us, if you're enjoying these videos, or you want to see more actual play stuff, or more like bigger productions or longer productions from us, then yeah, drop a donation in there. That'd be very much appreciated. But at the very least, you can like and subscribe. I'm going ahead of myself. Normally this is the thing you put at the end of a video. Like and subscribe and share this video and all those other things. In terms of my videos, this is probably going to be the last of the making of series. There might be some other bits here and there, little behind the scenes things, but in terms of as a series arc, this is kind of the conclusion, because like I have mentioned a couple of times, we've started recording the first season of the Actual Play show. The room in there is set up for it. We've recorded our session 0 for Fate, which if you haven't played Fate, session 0 is quite involved and quite long. It's going to be probably quite a long video. You can skip it if you want to get into the meat of the game. You can skip that video, but when that comes out, that'll be a chunky video at the beginning, which includes character creation, world creation, and lots of other elements, and us modifying the rules to fit what kind of game we want to play. So we've got a big old session 0, and then next weekend we're going to be recording all weekend, Saturday, Sunday, recording all weekend, the first batch of the show, and we're just going to play continuously and just film it, and then I'm going to cut it into episodes in post. We're not going to try and structure it too much, because again, it's going to be heavily improvised, so it's going to be near impossible to structure the damn thing. So we're just going to play for 2 days basically and film it, and then I will figure out the episode structure in the edit, which could be an insane way to do it, but there's only one way to find out, isn't there? And then that'll be the first batch of filming, and then there'll probably be a second weekend of filming down the road to complete the series. And then, like I say, that will start going out in May, which is what we've all been working towards. This kind of actual play series, like this contained actual play series in I guess a Dimension 20 kind of way, like a contained series. But yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I've got to run it. I'm a tiny bit nervous, I guess, because it's going to be on camera. I did a Fate accelerated 3-parter for this channel, which hasn't gone out yet, but will go out in the interim before over April. That will go out as to fill in the gap between the first series. But then then we're going to start looking to plan the second series and then the third series, and we'll be a different game each time. I mean, a different system each time. Obviously, it's a different game each time, but I mean, it'll be a different system each time. Although I might come back to Fate later because I do really love it. But yeah, we'll try and do that, and we'll try and hopefully display and teach some different systems. We've got the one shot of the Good Society, which is on here at the moment, which I don't know if that would lend itself to a longer campaign. It doesn't feel necessarily like it would, but it could do. And we might look at that in the future. We've started now. We can't stop. I know I've had a bit of a hiatus there, but we're deep in the weeds of filming now, so it's happening. It's happening. There's no getting back, no turning back now. This making of series was going to be replaced with something else, still video blog, which I'm going to start recording after this. I'm going to record a couple of episodes after I've finished this video, which is going to be a kind of me doing a diving into systems and other RPG systems and other games and my kind of relationship to them, and talking about games and stuff. That's going to be the next running series of video blogs, with probably a few little other bits in between. But yeah, that's gonna be me talking about games, which is what we all kind of want to do, what we're kind of all working towards. So hopefully that'll be interesting. And then there's something else that I'm working on, something personal, as in like not like a project that I'm passionate about. I mean something that's actually about me, which I'm also kind of working on, that I won't talk about just yet, but that's probably going to come out on this channel at some point as part of like a running series. This video might have been a bit rambling and a bit all over the place, but it needed to be made. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please do like and subscribe if you have not already. Watch the rest of my making of series. Keep an eye out for our actual plays. I watch actual play stuff that's already on here. Keep an eye out for more actual play stuff coming in the future. Drop me in the comments things that you think that I should cover on this channel. I'm going to be talking more, like I said, in the next running series about RPGs, specifically like deep diving and stuff. So if there's something that you want me to cover, drop it in there. Lots of people have already done that already. I've got lots of comments, and I've made a list of things people are like, oh, you should definitely check out this system and that system, and all these systems. There's a big list somewhere that I made. But my actual play stuff is quite intensive, and there's quite a lot going on. So I appreciate any recommendations for shows for games that we should put turn into shows. But a lot of work and planning goes into those. So maybe for like one shots in the future, if there's a good system for a one shot. But yeah, like the full series is a lot of effort. I kind of got like an entire year's worth of plans already in motion, and just because that's how long it takes. But yeah, I appreciate any suggestions there. Let me know if you've enjoyed this making of series. If you'd indeed like to see more of it or more behind the scenes stuff, let me know again in the comments. Yeah, I appreciate all the engagement, and I appreciate your patience waiting for this video to come out. April time, I'm going to do like a big old push, I think, for like to try and get to 2,000 subscribers. I'm going to do a big kind of thing, like every weekend I'm going to do a little something in addition to whatever I'm putting out. I've got ideas. Check out the rest of the making of series in the playlist. And I will see you next time. The end.